Okay, so tonight we are celebrating F5's fifth anniversary, but the team actually wants to share with you a few tips on how to future proof your brand. So we are celebrating things that have happened within the past 5 years, but we also want to share some tips with you on how we plan to move for the next 5 years and moving forward. But first things first, what will the world look like 5 years from now? Here's what we think. We think that China will be the global standard in terms of innovation and technology. So China will not just meet global standards, we actually think that we will be the global standard. So a lot of factors come into play that will make this happen. One such thing is research and development. We do know that China is increasingly prioritizing R&D, and there's actually a saying that R&D is the backbone of innovation. We believe like there's so many factors that come into play, but this is one of them. So China will be the global standard in the near future. We also think that the internet will change. You can actually see it right now. The online world will change. The way we use it, interact in it, and even market in it will change. So the pace has accelerated due to the pandemic. And I'm not sure if you've logged in Cannes. The Cannes Festival, it's usually held in France every year, but because of the current situation, they had to move the event online. And it was quite interesting because the photo in the lower left, what they did was they brought the event, they basically built this world, sort of like a metaverse. So the event was there and you could go to these different booths and meet with different people. So it was this interesting world, and this is just a taste of what's to come. This is something that the team is currently observing and we're watching, and we believe will just boom in the quite soon, actually, in the next few years. So we believe it's actually quite interesting to be early adopters of this when we play in this world and how the internet will change and we can sort of play in that space. You can also see it in Roblox. I hope like you guys are familiar with this. So Roblox and Fortnite, huge, right? It took the world by storm. A lot of kids are interested in this also. So it's basically a platform, a shared communal space where people can play games, games made by other users, and you can even create your own games. And what's interesting is I was online, and then I have a friend, and then she shared her story about her 6-year-old son. So she posted a story about how her 6-year-old son wanted this famous tracksuit from a certain sports brand. So they went to the store and then they asked the salesman, "Hey, like, do you have this tracksuit?" And then he was so impressed. He was so shocked, like, "How do you know about this tracksuit? You're just a child. You're only like 6 years old." So apparently, the son he found out about this product, about this brand in Roblox. It's because his character uses this tracksuit. So the point being is, can you imagine that a brand was able to introduce their product, their service, their brand to someone as young as 6 years old, not through just a cinema ad or videos or audio ad, but here in a shared platform such as Roblox and Fortnite. So that again, this is something that the team finds very interesting and we're closely observing because we do believe opportunities will bloom here and something we can do maybe in the future. So in the next 5 years and moving forward, or maybe even sooner, we feel like this is an interesting place to be. So that's just a background of what we think the world will look like 5 years from now. And here are 3 things you can do today to be 5 years ahead. First is you have to go global. What we mean by that is you have to think globally, you have to act locally. You have to take a universal truth and then communicate it in such a way that is relevant, that is relatable, that is familiar to that local target market, to the target market. So it's basically all about relatability, that no matter what message you are saying, people can relate with it, whoever they are, wherever they are. That's what we mean by you have to be very, very global. Your brands and your messaging have to be very, very global. So in Pfizer, what we actually do is we help Chinese brands make it in international markets, make it overseas, as Adams mentioned earlier. And we also do the reverse. We help international brands make waves here in the Chinese market. So one perfect example, this is quite recent. We just launched it last month, actually. It was for Western pharmaceutical brand Pfizer. So we launched in the Chinese market, and not just that, we actually did the launch event in Sichuan, China. So what's interesting is we sort of mix. We combined technology, which is a universal, which is universally appealing, right? Everyone loves technology. To be specific, this was drone technology. But what we did was we made formations based on medical health tips that were relevant to the community. And then the way that we dress up the symbols also look like the people. So as you can see, they're dressed in their hats, their traditional wear. So this is what we mean by when you have to glocalize your campaigns, your materials, your work. So it's fusing the universal appeal of technology with something that's familiar to the people, such as the medical tips that will be useful for them, and the way that they look also, such as seen in the drone symbols. So this is something that we do in F5. And here's another example of what we do for Chinese brand Midea. So Adams also mentioned that we help them launch in the United States, in Europe, and quite recently, actually, Middle East. So this video that's playing, we knew that in the Middle East, humor was actually very important. So when we communicated to them, we used humor to be able to better relate with them. So going local is very important because, as we all know, the world is now more interconnected than ever. So you have to remember that local projects are not just seen by local markets, they're actually seen around the world thanks to the internet. So when you create local work, you have to keep global standards in mind. That's something that we also take into heart when we create campaigns for our clients. So that's the first tip. And then the second tip that we would like to share with you is to collaborate like crazy. You guys have to collab like crazy. Okay, so this photo on the left, I think it was a few months ago or last year, there was a certain fast food chain and then they launched this limited flavor of ice cream. So it is vanilla sundae with chili oil. So I don't know, have you guys tried it? I don't know. Like I haven't, but I heard it was good. Anyway, the point being is you have these two different flavors that seem odd even. They seem totally different and they seem like they don't pair. But when you do, you create magic. I heard it was scrumptious. I heard it was delicious. And a few years ago, bacon and chocolate. I just find it so out of this world, so totally different. But then when you mix these together, they create something magical. You see brands doing these. You see them pairing up with other products, other services that don't seem like they fit together, but somehow they do. You see toy bricks pairing up with sneaker brands. You see famous cartoon sitcoms pairing up with fashion powerhouses. It's all these different kinds of collaborations. And then all these do is they build more brand love for your products and for your name. They can even generate more sales, maybe capture new markets. It's all about being new, which is very important nowadays. So one perfect example of how we collab like crazy is what we did for Mozart 80, again for Pfizer. So what we did was we used AI to generate a new Mozart symphony, a symphony he could have made if he lived a longer life. And to make this happen, we needed people who were not just in marketing, who were not just advertising people. We had to collaborate with technologists, with scientists, with composers, with musicians. We even collaborated with a microphotographer. So it's all this different mix of, like, why are you here? But somehow we're all here. And then you create magic. You create something that's so beautiful and effective, and it even won awards in multiple award shows such as Cannes and so much more. This is only possible if you collaborate with people who are from different fields. And the third and last tip we'd like to share with you is don't be afraid to use, reinvent, or even create new technology. This is very important because technology allows you to create new experiences. So you can use it to amplify your brand truth, add more entertainment, or even better, we love this the most, when you can actually use technology to communicate your brand message, but also at the same time solve a social problem. We love it when we're able to do that. So using technology is especially important nowadays because people, especially the youth, we all know that Gen Z, they want everything new. They want something they've never experienced before. Like, give me something new. So we're living in a content creator world. We have to remember that. So everyone wants to be the first to experience and to broadcast it. They want to be the first to show it off. Like, I was the first who saw this. So we have to keep that in mind, and we have to create things that they've never experienced before. Okay, so just a quick recap of what we wanted to share with you. So 3 things you can do today to be 5 years ahead is to go global, to collab like crazy, and don't be afraid to use, reinvent, or even create new technology. And interestingly enough, this is actually something that we've been doing since 2016, since we were founded in 2016, and that we do today, and that we will continue to use until forever. Okay, that's it.